Hello everybody and welcome back to Combo Tips, the guide that will show you how to use your god's abilities more effectively. Today we're going to be taking a look at Xing Tian, the Relentless. Before we start covering his abilities and get into the combo tips, let's take a quick look at Xing Tian's lore. So basically there's this crazy war going on, and Xing Tian and his whole crew are basically on the losing side. So he asked the boss, can I go kill this main guy on the other side? So Xing Tian's boss is like, no, don't do it, dude, he's way better than you. But Xing Tian's like, nah, I got this in the bag. So he goes up onto this mountaintop to fight this guy and proceeds to get his head chopped off. Not exactly a plot twist. The real plot twist actually comes when he decides 2 days later to just get up and be alive. I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, I've put Relentless on a job application, but if I came into the office and the secretary chopped my head off, I wouldn't be back in the morning. So anyways, Xing Tian just can't be stopped fighting. So let's talk about his abilities so you can stay in the fight longer and be more effective against your enemies. Xing Tian's number one ability basically damages enemies in a line, causing an initial burst of damage as well as a damage over time effect that's equal to 2.5% of the god's maximum health. But that's not all, ladies and gentlemen. This ability has another extremely important component. Anyone hit with this ability has their basic attack damage reduced by a significant portion, meaning when Uller's shooting you with his bows, or Fenrir's clawing you with his claws, or Ravan's punching you with his fists, they're going to be doing a lot less damage. This ability can literally shut down a hunter or an assassin who is basic attack oriented. This ability should give you a clue that Xing Tian is built to shut down physical attack based gods, so you need to be focusing them during your team fight. I just love throwing this on hunters and watching them shoot me and just be confused, like why is he taking no damage? It's like hitting an orc with a wet noodle. It's just not a fight you're gonna win. More on that ability later. Xing Tian's number 2 is called Hook Slam. It basically is a 2-part damaging ability that both knocks up your opponents and then roots them. Now this ability is pretty straightforward, but it's got one component that's cool. You can actually knock up one enemy, control yourself in the air, and root a different enemy if you so choose. Now you typically are going to be knocking up and rooting the same enemy, but it is nice to be able to control the direction in which you're facing or which you land after the ability is over. Now that we've covered Xing Tian's number 2, let's talk about his number 3. Now Xing Tian's number 3 is called Sky Cutting Axe, and there's actually a lot to go over in this ability. First off, this is a double leap, which means you can jump once and then jump twice. Not very special for a human, but for a god in Smite, that's pretty extraordinary. Now, for 2 seconds after your first jump, you can run around the map and reposition yourself. However, if you use your basic attacks or you use another ability, you will actually cancel your second jump. Alright, so let's just talk about how this ability actually works. If you jump into the air, you gain protections. Now, if you land on an enemy, you actually gain protections that last for 3 seconds. Those go away over time. But if you're able to land on another enemy during the time frame that your jump is still available, you can refresh those protections for a second time. Now what this means is you're going to be jumping on people quite a lot. But I hope you understand this is not real life people. I don't want to see you like jumping on babies and stuff. Jumping on multiple targets in a team fight is a fantastic way to spread out the enemy team. Now this is a fantastic initiation tool, a great escape, and also a great combo with your number 1 against physical-based gods. Xing Tian, with his number 3 and his number 1, has the ability to pull off something we call a power swing, essentially using your number 1 to reduce your target's damage by 50%, and then hopping on them immediately afterwards to increase your protections by a serious amount. If a basic attack god is giving you a problem or doing well in the game, use this combo on them to shut them down and keep them out of the fight. Try jumping over the enemy team's guardian into the back line of mages and hunters, and then turning around and jumping back into your front line. This allows Xing Tian to be a very aggressive character, and he's kind of an aggressive guy. I mean, he just kind of reminds me of one of those guys who would kill you with his left hand while Snapchatting the whole thing with his right hand. You know, one of those guys. Wow, that would be like a badass story. Anywho, let's talk about his number 4, which is a fantastic ability called Whirlwind of Rage and Steel. Essentially, Xing Tian swings his axe, sweeping up any enemies near him and causing damage, while at the end, throwing them in any direction that he so chooses. Now, because this ult is so powerful, people are going to start running away from you if you get too close. Meaning if you double jump into the enemy backlines, they're most likely going to use their dashes, jumps, or any other movement abilities to get away and avoid your ultimate. To nullify that, go ahead and buy Blink. This will allow you to land your ultimate more consistently, and leave you with your jump in case you want to escape. Now, for most people, if you swing someone by the blade of your metal axe 3 times in a row and throw them a large distance, they'll probably be dead. However, in Smite, if they're still alive, you have a couple ways to follow up. For the most amount of damage as quickly as possible, use your number 1. This will secure the most amount of damage you can do. Now, for a more control-oriented follow-up, you want to use your number 2, knocking them up just as they hit the ground and then rooting them for another 2 seconds. This should give your teammates plenty of time to follow up, but if no one's behind you, consider using your number 1 for as much burst as possible. So if you can land your ultimate, then your number 2, followed up with your number 1 and your number 3 2 times on the same opponent, I'll give you all the pancakes in the land. I'm just kidding. I do not have enough money for that promotion. Do not take that seriously. Thanks so much for watching Combo Tips. I just wanted to let you know that if you take the time to like or share this video, you will be much appreciated. This content takes me much longer to create than my other God Guides, but it's also one of my favorite pieces to produce. And stay tuned for next time when we discuss Apwatch, the horrific god of decay. Oh, and by the way, if Xing Tian kills someone with his number 1, is he technically a #Ghostface killer? Because, his number 1 is a ghost face and it killed someone? I don't know. What do you think?